The Ottoman conquest of Bosnia was a century-and-a-half-long conquest war process. Despite the saying Bosnia fell in a whisper, it did not happen like that. The saying probably arose because of the small time gap between the conquest of the capital cities in the final phase of the conquest. The Ottoman presence was felt in Bosnia long before it finally fell to the Ottomans. Even before the Battle of Kosovo 1389, Ottoman detachments broke into the border areas of the Bosnian state. This was especially intensified after the Ottomans conquered Skopje 1392 and established a sanjak in it. His administrators interfered in the disputes between Bosnian noblemen and often acted as judges in them. In 1415, they helped the Bosnians in the battle with Sigismund in Usora. After the conquest of Serbia, the Ottomans intended to attack Bosnia. The Ottomans invaded Bosnia via the Drina. The attackers were Islamist ethnic Bulgarians, Serbs and Albanians, not Ottomans or any Asians, as one might think at first. In the beginning, the Bosnian nobles drove out the Ottoman invaders. Bosnian Duke Vlatko Vuković fought against the Ottomans in Kosovo. Field and the withdrawal from the battlefield passed without serious consequences. The Serbian ruler Stefan Lazarević, around 1377 to 1427, was an Ottoman vassal, but after some time he distanced himself from the Ottoman masters and from the Hungarian-Croatian king. He received Belgrade Machka, some possession in Hungary, but also part of Bosnia and Herzegovina Srebrenica. Bosnian noblemen involved Ottoman mercenaries in their battles. In 1415, Hrvoje Vuković Hrvatinić, with the help of Ottoman mercenaries, defeated the Hungarian Slavonic band Pavlo Čutnić. Since then they interfere more and more often in political relations in Bosnia, instigate disputes among Bosnian nobles, participate in disputes and gradually turn them into their taxpayers. The Ottoman tactics of Akinji warfare are increasingly coming to fruition. Akinji's robberies and arson caused heavy damage to the locked regions which remained deserted after their raids and were easy to conquer even for a few years. Bosnian King Tvrtko II, he was in dire straits. He had to pay the Ottomans an annual tribute from 1429, when he committed himself to them. Tvrtko II undertook to pay them an annual tribute of 25,000 ducats and ceded some cities to them. Failure to pay or disloyalty was punished by the Ottomans with increased stalking or possession of parts of the country. The Bosnian Franciscans reported to Rome in 1437 that the Ottomans had set fire to 16 of their dwellings in 2 years. As the country was in constant wars, there was no money to pay the tribute regularly, so instead of the tribute the king had to leave some fortresses in the east of the country to the Ottoman Empire. This gave the Ottomans a good position from which to carry out raids and robberies, and at the same time they Islamized the Bosnian nobility a little bit. The Ottomans conquered some military important Bosnian Georges. They held in their hands the surroundings of Sarajevo and the fortified Hodidid in the parish of Vrbosna, and in the East Srebrenica and several places along the Drina. After that, the Ottomans established the Bosansko Krajište east of Sarajevo, with the military fort Didi settled in Bosnia between 1448 and 1451. But with all the seriousness of the position, there was a quarrel among the Bosnian nobility. Tvrtko was inherited in 1443 by the illegitimate son of Stjepan Ostoja, Stjepan Tomaš. Smederevo in Serbia surrendered without a fight in 1459, which made Sultan Mehmed II ended the conquest of Serbia. Then they could fully devote themselves to Bosnia. They occupied the Bosnian mining basin with the towns of Srebrenica and Zvornik. In 1461, Stjepan Tomašević, son of Stjepan Tomaš, came to power. Stjepan refused to pay tribute to the Sultan because he relied on the help of the Pope and Matthias Korvin, the Hungarian-Croatian king. While Korvin was busy negotiating with the German Emperor Frederick III, Sultan Mehmed II broke into Bosnia in 1463 with 150,000 soldiers. After the departure of the Bosnian envoys from Constantinople, where they were promised a 15-year truce, Ottomans soon set off for Bosnia via Skopje, Kosovo and Sjenica. They occupied Podrinje. From Podrinje, the Ottomans invaded central Bosnia. After a 3-day siege on May 19 to 21, the fortified town of Bobovac, the capital of the Kingdom of Bosnia, surrendered to them. Earlier, the Bosnian king left him and took refuge in Jajce. The news of the fall of Bobovac created fear and confusion throughout the country and among the crews in the fortresses. Even before the Ottoman siege of Jajce, King Stjepan II Tomašević took refuge in Cluj. The fortified town of Bobovac, besieged on May 19, surrendered to the Ottomans on May 21, 1463. Before the Ottomans' danger, King Stjepan Tomašević took refuge in Jajce and from there headed towards Croatia, hoping to collect some help, but he was besieged in Cluj on the Sana River. Queen Mother Katarina fled to Dubrovnik and later to Rome. The king's half-brother Sigismund and half-sister Katarina were taken into Turkish slavery, and King Stjepan's wife, Jelena, fled to Split and from there to Turkey, where she lived until 1495. Mahmud Pasha Angelović gave him a written guarantee to the king that he would be released and persuaded him to surrender. Since Mahmud Pasha Angelović promised King Tomašević security, life, and freedom, the king surrendered to the Ottomans. Thus, in a very short time, the Ottomans conquered the 3 main cities of the Bosnian state, Bobovac, Jajce, and Cluj. While the siege and negotiations were going on, Mehmed II, he came to Jajce, where they brought the Bosnian king, whom he forced to under the city and other fortresses to surrender without a fight. The Sultan ordered the legal interpreters to declare Angelović's guarantee to king invalid and to execute the king. In a short period of time, more than 70 cities and fortresses surrendered in the most peaceful way. That is how Bosnia fell through fraud and treachery. According to Chronicle Dugos, 70 Bosnian cities surrendered to the Ottomans. According to an Italian report, 170, and according to Christobulus, slightly less than 300. Then, according to different data, Ottomans took 100,000 of the local population into captivity and 20,000 young men into the Janissaries. All contemporary reports and chroniclers of the military campaign in Bosnia in 1463 omitted or neglected the removal of the population from the country and emphasized the devastation, destruction and huge spoils of war. Along with the king, the Sultan had all the most important Bosnian dignitaries executed. Aristocracy was a calculated tactic. By doing so, he prevented the Bosnian kingdom from ever being restored. They removed the king. The heirs, that is, the king's children, were taken to Constantinople and forcibly converted to Islam, so that no one relieved by good to the royal family would seek the throne or create a new state creation based on the reputation of the first among the strongest. They killed all the high Bosnian nobility. Thus the Ottoman conquerors lost track of Bosnia until recent time. The Bosnian faith was a practice that the Ottoman conquerors applied in all the regions they conquered, which at one time were about 14 contemporary states. In all the conquered, the Ottomans wanted to sever all ties with the former system and people and start all over again at their destruction. The Ottomans' attempt to conquer Herzegovina was also unsuccessful. No one from the neighboring states and rulers came to the aid of Britain Bosnia. The attempt of Pope Pio II to personally lead the Crusader army for the liberation of Bosnia failed with his death in Ancona on July 19, 1464. King Stjepan Tomašević was executed under Jajce after he issued an order to surrender his cities to the Ottoman conquest. The fate of the inhabitants of captured cities and fortresses had three possible outcomes. Part of the population was left behind by Sultan Mehmed II. In the cities, the Sultan gave a part to commanders as slaves. The third part he sent to Constantinople and further to Asia, as recorded by the Greek chronicler Leonicus Chalcocodiles. In 1463, Bosnia was not finally and completely conquered, because a significant part of the Bosnian territory was returned to Christian hands, partly by the Croatian Hungarian states and partly by Vladislav Kosacha. The Franciscans of Jajce did not stand still, but organized the expulsion of the Ottomans from the city. In the same year, Matthias Corvin went to army, taking Jajce from the Ottomans. On that occasion, and a little later, the whole of northern Bosnia. He organized the Jajces and Srebrenica's Banovina in the liberated area. Matthias tried to strengthen his position by restoring the Bosnian kingdom, whose king he appointed Nikola Ilochki. His main task was supposed to be opposing the Ottomans and driving them out of Bosnia. Thus Catholics remained free for more than 50 years as part of the so-called Jajce's Banovinas. After Nicola's death, Matthias once again tried to expel the Ottomans from Bosnia, penetrating all the way to Sarajevo, but his military had only temporary success. After Herzegovina also fell into Ottomans' hands in 1492, Corvin stopped liberating the Bosnian regions. The end of the Ottoman conquest of today's territory of Bosnia and Herzegovina was completed with the fall of Bihać to the Ottomans on June 19, 1592. After the Ottomans' conquest of Bosnia and Herzegovina, the Islamized local population assumed the name Ottomans and organized the next 3 centuries of Bulgarian, barbarian occupation towards the northwest. Bosnia and a little later Herzegovina became part of the Ottoman state, where they officially remained until the 20th century.